I mean, I think it's been done to death, everyone talking to you about achieving fame and everything after Good Will Hunting, but I'm curious about going back to Against the Grain, that first taste of being well known.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that show was such in a weird way, I mean, I guess if you amass the number of people who looked at it nationwide, it's like more people watch TV shows than have seen like the biggest hit movie ever. But it seemed so monumentally unsuccessful that it was on for a very short period of time, and then everyone was kind of like, our ratings are bad, and then they knew it would be canceled, and so it was. So it didn't feel like a great taste of fame or success. It kind of felt like another job I did, yet another project where kind of nobody saw it. And for a long time, I felt like the tree in the woods, you know what I mean? It didn't really matter if I fell over or not because nobody really ever saw it. But, it was probably better for me to go through a bunch of stuff and have a lot of experiences where I felt like they kind of didn't pan out because I appreciated, it more down the road. And I think it grounds you, and I think there's a real danger if like the first thing you do is really successful to believe that it's about you and to sort of get a swelled head because and it's a good lesson to learn that like you're able to do something that people are profoundly disinterested in.
Okay. Well, a question about this whole thing, this movie, getting mail in prison and all that. How often do you read your fan mail, and do you ever get mail from prisoners?
Well, I write to the prisons quite a bit, just because I feel like the guys are probably lonely, and maybe a friendly word will cheer them up. So I do keep a good correspondence up with my jailhouse brethren. But the fan mail, actually what I tend to do is, I think the internet is one of the great inventions for many reasons, this among them, is that, I gotta take a drink, is that, people write in to, I have this like website which makes me feel okay about not answering fan mail. So basically, if you have a question, you go like affleck.com and you go in there and you can just ask a question. I go on and answer them periodically because actually, for two reasons. One, I feel like to a certain extent you kind of owe it to somebody who's interested enough to write you and ask you a question, a reasonably well thought out answer. And secondly, because they tend to actually be sort of interesting questions. You know what I mean? People are sort of thoughtful and smart, and so that's sort of my. I haven't gotten into the jailhouse correspondence quite yet.
Okay. Now, surreal moments on this film. Well, Prince George, this is actually where they shot the first Rambo film.
Really?
Now, how big a celebrity were you in that town, and was Ben Mania rampaging?
I mean, I think just the fact that like we were shooting a movie there was a pretty big deal. So whoever was in the movie was kind of a big deal. We did have like a lot of people standing around sort of watching us all through the night because we shot a lot of nights. They stand there all night kind of just watching really boring scenes like cars pulling up and stuff. And I think just the fact that kind of something was happening was a source of some interest. But the people were really nice and really, really kind to me, and we had a good time. It's supposed to be kind of a rough frontier sort of town. It's way out there, and but we didn't have any problems. People were great.
Now, you're no stranger to the cold climates. Doing an action movie in the snow, how difficult?
It's not something I want to do again, anytime soon. I mean, this is the kind of movie that I certainly hadn't done before, and I can't. In retrospect, I wish that it were like a tropical setting, but it was fun for me just because it was so different. I wanted to do something the challenge is to do something that's, broad-based entertainment, like a popular thriller, but that's smart and that, has integrity to it, and that, obviously that's why I want to do it with John Frankenheimer. And so I probably won't go to another movie like this for some time, but I certainly won't ever do another one in the snow.
Okay.
That was an added difficulty.
And then last quick question, weird moments on the set. When all the actors were dressed in the Santa Claus outfits, what was going through your mind, and how many jokes from the crew?
It more turned into the thing where everybody was really like, can you take a picture of me? This is going to be my Christmas card. Every like Danny Trejo and like with all his tattoos and everything, like dressed up as Santa Claus. And so we were all like taking our Christmas card pictures, and then we grew very tired of the Santa suits. And after a while, they were kind of hot, and if they require all kind of, Santa really has to dress himself up. He's got the things, the belts, the boots, the bing. So it was, it became the kind of thing where you're like, the Santa suits again. But they made for some mirth, some good times, some frivolity, and we enjoyed ourselves. And it reminded us all that, it really is a wonderful life, even if you are in the snow, and even if you are in Prince George, Canada.